Hello, Bean. How are you today?
Oh, not so bad. You?
I'm doing great. I've been excited for the last 24 hours to do this.
I'm
I
excited for
really
the last 3 weeks to do this.
That's also true, yeah. I really like Sturgill Simpson, but I've only listened to a couple of his songs and I think he's fucking fantastic. He's made me appreciate an entire genre of music I didn't appreciate before, and I'm really excited to see how these songs are. Really pumped.
Right? Friggin' on.
So there's a couple that are deep cuts that I did want to add into this, like "Living the Dream," that I decided against because and "Keep It Between the Lines," that I decided against doing because I have heard them before, and I really love those songs, and I know for a fact you would like them. But just so we can keep with the spirit of what we're doing, I use all songs I have not heard yet. So yeah, it's just gonna be how it is. Have you heard, besides the one song "Turtles All the Way Down"? Have you heard any Sturgill Simpson before?
None that I would recognize. I mean, as you know, as we well know, that I'm not the biggest country fan. But a lot of members of my family and a lot of people in the place I live fucking are. So I'm bound to have heard Sturgill Simpson at least once or twice in my lifetime.
And how do you feel about him?
I don't have an opinion because, like I said, I've only heard the one song that I know of, and I don't even remember it that well, and that was from you. Uh, but as I said, I'm not the biggest fan of country, old country like Johnny Cash, Willie Nelson, Dolly Parton. They fit into the same category to me as old country as Sturgill Simpson would, so I'm sure I'll have an appreciation for his music at least.
It's definitely more so in the vein of outlaw country like them. It's not pop country. It's not Garth Brooks. It's not fucking Florida Georgia Line. It's actual him. He is a fantastic musician. He's got a buttery, smooth voice with this Kentucky drawl to it, and he's a phenomenal guitar player. I'm talking uber talented guitar player. He's fucking disgustingly good. And so, what do you think your rating is going to be, or do you really have no idea?
I'm going in blind as a bat here. I don't have any initial reading.
From what
Um,
I
If I'm categorizing him into old country, I would probably give a 4 at a very minimum, just because I have that much respect for old country or outlaw country, because it's not the fucking stadium pop country that you hear these fucking days, um, which I do loathe that with my entire core of being.
Me too.
Um,
Can't stand it.
so yeah, if I had to, like I said, I'm going in blind as a bat here, but if I have to give a preliminary rating for the sake of this, I would probably give it 4, just because he's well respected within the whole outlaw country community.
Okay, so I'm going to agree with you. I'm at a 4 right now for him because of the songs I have heard, I really fucking love them. Absolutely love them. But I haven't heard enough to give him like a 5, right?
Right.
Um, so I'm going to be at a 4 right now. I haven't heard enough to put him at a 5, and it hasn't, of the ones I have heard, they haven't all been 10 out of 10s for me to have him at a 4.5 right now. Like, remember how I said during the Meatloaf video, I've only heard 2 of his songs, but they're 2 of my absolute favorite songs ever, so I had him at a 4.5 to start.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I love Sturgill Simpson. He has probably 2 of my favorite songs, like 2 of my top like 60 favorite songs, but not all of his songs have been as great as that. But I'm willing to say that I'm going to be anywhere between a 4 and a 5 on this video. I'm really hoping for a 5. I think he's going to be great. Um,
Alrighty.
so you want to just jump right into it?
Yeah, I think we've settled we can.
Alrighty, let's get going. So the first song, oh, by the way, I did do this in order of album again. So he's only had 4 albums. So I have, 2 from the first, 3 from the second, 3 from the third, and 2 from his last.
Okay.
The song list is "Water in a Well," "Hero," "Life of Sin," "Just Let Go," "Voices," "In Bloom," "All Around You," "Sea Stories," "Make Art Not Friends," and "Last Man Standing." So,
At least one of those songs sounds familiar to me.
at least one of them. All right, so let's just get started and jump right in for Water in a Well. What'd you think, Bean?
So I'm gonna go right off the bat and say that I'm not the biggest fan of his voice. Uh, oh, don't you give me that look of fucking exasperation. I've been completely patient understanding when you said it about 7 other fucking people we've done. Um, this one sounded like a generic country song to me, if I'm being 100% honest. Nothing special. Like, this is the type of thing where, like, you see a scene in the movie where the character walks into a country bar. This is the type of music I expect to play in the background. It's nothing special to me, if I'm being honest. It didn't sound bad. It sounded like a generic country song, in which I'll just give a 3.
What'd you think about the instruments?
Like I said, everything about it seems very generic country. The one thing I will say is that towards the end, he had this very simple guitar solo that he played with a slide. That sounded nice, but again, just very generic country in my opinion.
I'm going to disagree with you. I'm going to give that song a 4. I don't know exactly what it was. His voice to me just sounds very soothing, and I love it. And I like when he goes heavy. I really like it. I think that's all the song needed was a little bit more of a progression to it. But I get it. It's a different genre. So I can't put, what I would expect in a Tool song to be in a Sturgill Simpson song. So I would have liked a little bit more progression and for the heaviness to sustain instead of just being one line near the end. But other than that, I actually really dug this song. I liked it. His original album does sound much, much different than what he eventually turns into. So if you didn't like this song, thought it was more generic, I feel like your opinion will change. For better or worse, it will change coming up here. But, I mean, that's all I really have to say about this song. So, I mean, let's go into our next song, which is called Hero.
Hero.
So, I'm going to agree with you on this one. I know how you felt about this song already. I think this one was a more generic country song, for sure. But I did like the lyrics. I like the songwriting. I like the band in the back. I like the instruments. And I liked his voice. So even though it did sound more like a generic country song to me, I'm going to give it about 3.5 because I just really like him and I like his voice and I like his songwriting style. So I liked it, but I know that you're going to say it was a more generic song, and I'm going to agree with you.
So I think I finally figured it out is that a lot of people listen to country music when they feel sad, right? Like because they feel that, they identify with the singer, right?
Because
Hearing country music makes me insanely depressed. That's what I think it is. And yeah, I see you doing your thing, but let me fucking speak. And while you were putting words in my mouth, what you probably wouldn't was going to expect me to say is that I like the song better than the first.
I was not going to expect that.
Yeah, it's still not my taste in music, but I was probably going to give it a 3.5, the same as you had.
To me, yeah, I agree with you in a way that a lot of country music is pretty depressing. At least like, a stereotypical country song. It's all about love and like hardship or whatever. But yeah, so I'm gonna agree with you on that, and it gives you like that stereotypical sort of country deal where it's like a booze swiggling fucking just guy with a beard.
Over my truck.
Yeah, we basically have you seen A Star Is Born, the new one?
No, you've asked me this at least 20 times.
Okay, well, basically, like how I imagine Sturgill Simpson is like, or at least like the kind of like style that this song was exactly like how Bradley Cooper is in A Star Is Born. Like this guy who's a music star and he's really talented, really good, but he's also really depressed. Fucking drinks a little bit too much, does a little bit too much other substances, has a pretty sad life, has no real friends or whatever. And that song, the song basically reminded me of A Star Is Born, and that was a great fucking movie. And I'm not gonna say this was a great song, but I did like this song, and I'm surprised that you liked it.
I didn't say I liked it. I said I liked it better.
You gave it a 3.5. Generally, 3.5 means you like something.
I can respect something and still not like it.
That you know what? That's a good point. That's a good point.
And Yeah, just as a side note, I don't even think you care for Sturgill Simpson. Given the fact that this is like the billionth time you've asked me if I've seen A Star Is Born, I think you just have a boner for Bradley Cooper.
That I'm not going to disagree with you, but I'm also not going to accept your premise. We're just going to
But you're
pretend like
definitely not disagreeing with me.
we're just going to pretend like you never said that, so that way I don't have to answer any questions. Okay, that's
Everyone
just
is
going to
going to
be.
hear it, and I hope everyone knows that you get a chubby for little Bradley.
He's not little.
Brad.
Franz. Let's move on to the next song off his second album, which is supposed to be like, oh no, his third album was supposed to be like, his masterpiece album. Like, it's got really insanely good reviews. But the second album, I have heard a couple songs off of it, and they're two, Living the Dream and Turtles All the Way Down. And I absolutely adore those songs. So let's see how this album is. We're going to start off with Life of Sin. All right, Bean, what'd you think of Life of Sin?
This is the best song we've heard so far.
I agree with you. I agree with you there.
I'll go right ahead and say this is another 3.5 for me, but this is a 3.5 that I can say I like. Still don't super care for his voice. The music itself is, much more my speed if we're talking country. And I will say his crescendo towards the end of the song with his voice, what I will say was very impressive.
That was my one note I really had on this song, was that sustained note at the end. Killed it. He crushed that fucking note. I wasn't expecting that, and he fucking delivered wholeheartedly. I like his faster stuff. I like his slow stuff too, but his faster stuff, it seems he's more comfortable going faster, and his band sounds a lot better behind him when they're playing a lot more up tempo.
Yeah, no, it's
his
like
guitar
it's a tighter sound. It's a tighter sound.
Yeah, his guitar specifically works way better when he is, and I'm not even saying I dislike it when it's slow, because I like his guitar generally always, but when he's playing faster, he really shows more of what he's got in his tank. 100% agree on that. And once again, like, I like the lyrics. His lyrics basically showed self-deprecation and depravity. And I talk about like sex is cheap and
talking's overrated.
Yep, and how he's just smoking weed all day, and he's being paranoid, and he calls himself a silly alcoholic hillbilly. Just it shows like his kind of like style is more in the self-deprecation. It's a more outlaw country, like focusing more inward than it is focusing on tractors and beer. It's focusing more on like it talks about beer, but it's in a way that doesn't glorify it. Like he talks about, it's a life of sin. Like he isn't a great guy. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's what I noticed with a lot of his work is he's very self-deprecating. Like I think he's really depressed, if I had to guess.
It's a cry for help, damn it.
Yeah, that might be it. But all right, you got anything more to say about this song?
Well, I think I said all I've needed to say.
All right, I'm going to give that song about 4 stars. So let's go for the next one. Just Let Go. You're not wearing headphones, so I don't think you're really going to feel what I felt about this song. The main thing I noticed from the song, I didn't think it was the most fantastic or great song or anything, but the production in it was absolutely fucking tremendous. The sound was like traveling from like one side of the headphone to the other with like those guitar slides and the crescendos and everything. And like you could hear each individual voice making up the harmonies in each ear. So I would hear Sturgill Simpson in one ear and the other guy in the other one. The production to me in this one was fucking flawless, dude. It was amazing. That being said, the song I thought was okay. Wasn't the hugest fan of the song, but I really liked the production value of it.
So I would be inclined to disagree with you, and it's probably because I'm not using headphones. I thought the production value was shit. And it's because, like, again, I'm not fucking wearing earphones for this shit. And it's, to me, his fucking voice was just too echoey in general. His voice, like, I could just ever so faintly hear someone singing in the background, but then his voice just overpowered it. And after that, like, that honestly super pissed me off. And like I just kind of zoned from then on because I'm like I can't even appreciate the full value of the song because this fucking whatever sound engineer fucked off somewhere. Uh, to me, this song's a 2. It was going to be a 3, but with the quality and production again, that might be my own fault for not having earphones. It's a 2.
I'm not gonna say it's your fault because I mean you shouldn't have to wear earphones to really, get it better. Like earphones definitely help, but they shouldn't be completely necessary. But this song, it was one of those ones where I think wearing earphones definitely, or like listening to it on like a surround sound where the sound can, travel, definitely would have helped a lot. But I understand your critiques and your criticisms.
And well, I
Go
mean,
ahead.
and while I do say this, in that like there are some songs, like personally to me, if I know if I'm in a sound engineering setting and I want the song to be the best it can, I don't mind the idea of when you're having earphones, things are in one headphone and in the other, so they blend and wave around through your head. That's a great thing. But in that same merit, you better still be able to hear everything live, or not live, but like everything without those earphones, even if, you know, it's still got to blend together, without earphones. So it's all one, full thing as opposed to you're hearing each bits and pieces on every side.
You know what?
And like
I'm
Slow
in.
Cheater by the Red Hot Chili Peppers is a song like that. And that the bass, if you're wearing earphones, will start here, and John Frusciante will be playing in, the background on guitar on your right ear. And then Anthony Kiedis, you can hear his voice in both earphones. But when you listen to that song, without any earphones in, you can still hear every piece of that song. Like as a whole, nothing is drowned out by the other. And that's what I didn't like about this. And that's why I say the production on this was not as good to me.
You know what? I can't say because I haven't listened to a song without earphones, but I believe you. I think that maybe you're right. The earphones definitely, I think, made this song a lot better for me than it did for you. And I think because we listened to it two separate ways, it had two opposite effects. So, yeah, I don't really think we're going to come to a consensus on this song. We listened to it two completely different ways. But the fact that headphones versus non-headphones makes a difference, you could argue that that's better because it will encourage you to listen to the way it like truly was supposed to sound. Kind of like, okay, so Avatar, right? You were supposed to see that movie in 3D, right? And watching it in 3D is really cool. But when you watch it in just regular 2D, the movie is horrible. And is it a great movie because when the way you're supposed to watch it, it looks really awesome? Or is it a shit movie because when you watch it like how you normally would, it doesn't look great at all? So, I mean, it's an argument you could make for either side, but I'm more inclined to go with you in the fact that the more accessible, realistic way of listening to it, the care and effort should be there to make that sound just as good. I mean, because obviously headphones are going to sound better no matter what, but you still need to make it sound good if you don't have headphones. So if you really despise the non-headphone listening experience, then I think that you're right. And I see why you didn't really care for this song.
Mm.
But in that case, let's move on to track 5, which is Voices. So what'd you think?
I like the music. I'm still not the biggest fan. In fact, I'm not a fan at all of his voice. And you know what? That may be me. And that's definitely me. I don't care for his voice. I respect him well enough because I know he's not just doing stadium country, but country, like as I said, is not my thing. And another thing I've noticed with every track, and not just this one and the last, is that there is just too much echo on his fucking voice, and it detracts from the rest of the song to me.
I kind of agree with you on the echo. There is a lot of echo in his voice. Maybe that's just kind of like the genre he's in because I think in a lot of country there's a lot of echo. You know what I mean? But I can't really say too much. What I will say is I really like the lyrics. The lyrics were, I don't know if you've been looking at the lyrics while you've listened to songs, but the lyrics are very interesting. He uses a lot of metaphors and a lot of like hyperbole, and he uses a lot of like, he has a lot of interesting, things to say in each song. And to me, whereas lyrics aren't the most important thing, if you have cool, good, original lyrics, that does elevate the song for me. And I am a fan of his voice. I'm a huge fan of his voice, and I like his lyrics. And the singing in this one was definitely pushed to the front. Like the singing was not pushed; it was pushed to the front. But the brunt of the action was his vocal performance in the song. So I can see how if you don't like his vocals, the song wasn't that great. But for me, I really like his vocals and I really liked his lyrics and songwriting, and I really like this song. I don't think it's as good as the first song, Life of Sin, but I did like this song a lot. And I would recommend, if it's possible, to read the lyrics of these songs. Obviously, for In Bloom, you know every word to that song, and that's the song coming up. So you're not
And
good.
I'm willing to bet these probably changed it up in some way. That's aside from re-genrifying, if that's even a fucking word, which I'm coining now. Like I'm sure, like I've noticed with covers in general, some and I'm very, partial to it myself, is that some words are going to be changed up here and there, let alone
I don't
music.
I don't know, because I don't know if this is true or not, but I've heard this. His like main inspiration to get into music was Kurt Cobain. So I'm excited because this is obviously a popular song by him, and it seems like it's generally really well liked, even by Nirvana fans. I've heard that this is like, people really like his version of this, but I haven't listened to it. And you
You know
are
what?
a
Let's hope
Nirvana
this be
fan,
the only 5.
huh?
Let's hope this is a 5 for me, because I'm either going to love it or I'm going to despise it, and we better hope it's not the latter.
You're either going to be a 1 or a 5 on this song. I know for a fact. And I'm not the hugest Nirvana fan, so really this isn't going to matter to me. But if it's not as good as what Nirvana did, this is my general feeling on covers. If it's not as good as the original, then there's no point in making the song. Unless you're doing something completely different with it. So when Avenged Sevenfold covered Wish You Were Here, it wasn't anywhere near as good as Wish You Were Here by Pink Floyd, obviously, right? Like, of course it wasn't. But
I
it
thought they did a
was,
good job. It was just that much faster paced to me, which what
yeah,
really threw me off.
but for me, at least like they made it way more faster paced, and they made it like a completely different sort of experience while listening to it. So there is a reason to make a song if you're going to change it drastically in a cover. But if you're going to cover a song and keep it the same, but it's not as good, then there's zero point in making that song. So I'm hoping that he either tries his very best to make a better but still same version of In Bloom, or he completely changes it and adds his own thing to it, but makes it good. I have no idea what to expect though. This song is generally well respected by the Nirvana fan base, and it's really highly liked by his fan base. So let's check out In Bloom and see how we feel.
What the fuck is that?
It was.
And I can tell already that you fucking loved it.
I'm not gonna say I loved it. What I am gonna say is it was not what I was expecting. Not in the slightest. This is
that's an understatement.
This is a completely different song in every facet of a song. Completely different song that just had the lyrics of In Bloom.
I didn't like it. I'm gonna be right out the bat here and say that.
I'm not surprised.
With Nirvana songs, especially In Bloom, is that a lot of it plays off of pain and angst. And while country has a lot of pain, angst isn't something you fucking see with country. Country is much more about humility. And it just to me didn't fit at all. The most redeeming quality of this version was the final chorus where he brought it up to a faster pace, which in a way saved the song from fucking zero for me. That being said, I will give this song a 2.5 instead of the one I was originally going to give. One, because I do, the extra point because one, I do fucking, respect you enough to put it out there, because that people are either going to love it or hate it. But the fact that you have that much, artistic liberty to be able to do that, I will give a point for respect. And the other 0.5 comes from it was a cool music video. That's the other thing. Other than that, yeah, no, this was a sore disappointment.
Okay, so I don't know how to feel about this. It was completely different than what I expected. It was completely different from the original song. I got very excited because it sounded like he had a bunch of crazy instruments behind him.
And a cow.
And when they started to really ramp up, I was getting really excited because I expected the final minute and a half to be like a full blown arena rock sort of rendition of the final, chorus and a half. But that didn't happen. It happened a tiny bit, but not to the extent that I was expecting. I thought it was good. I thought it was much like how I was saying before. As long as if you have a cover, it either needs to be just as good, if not better, like how Johnny Cash's rendition of "Hurt" was, or it has to be a complete changing of the stylistic integrity of the song. This song completely changed the style of it, by far, completely shifted everything about it. So I respect that he did that, and he didn't just try to have a carbon copy of what it was. And I'm not the biggest Nirvana fan, so I don't hold them in the highest regard. But I still believe that the original by Nirvana was a better song. I thought this song was good. I was hoping for a little bit more craziness to it. And I was a little disappointed that I didn't get nothing too crazy. But I understand why some people like this version. I do. I really understand why some of the Nirvana fan base and why Sturgill Simpson's fan base enjoys this, because this is a very different thing. And you can tell that he really, what he put into it, you can tell that he loves the original version and he loves Nirvana, because he did respect the song enough to where he wasn't just going to completely rip it off. He was going to have his own sort of style of it. And not in the fact that he's changed his own style because he's oh, well, my style's better, so I'm gonna make the song better by changing the mood. It was he's gonna change into his own style because he wants to have a tribute sort of thing to them. And I did appreciate that. Do you know what I'm saying?
I do, yeah.
And that I appreciate. So I'm not really gonna give a rating on this song. I'd probably go from a 3 to a 3.5. If I had to really guess. But I thought I was expecting something much different. And I am it's cool that it was a lot different than what I expected. I do like being surprised, for sure. But I wasn't sure if this was a surprise I really needed. And yeah, that's all I really have to say about it.
I could talk for 6 more hours about how I feel about this version of the song, but I don't got that kind of time.
Well, give me another minute of something specific about this that you either liked or didn't like. I'm not going to be offended if you didn't like it at all. Just give me another minute of specificity about what exactly this was that tipped you some way.
Like I said, the only redeeming quality about this song, or this version of this song for me, was the very last chorus where they did pick up the pace, and that sounded better to me because In Bloom is not a song you can play slow, in my opinion. For the most part of this song, it was like nails on a chalkboard, if I'm being 100% honest. And like I said, I respect him for being able to put out this much artistic liberty with someone else's music. And you were right. Stylistically, it's fucking apples and oranges. Uh, it just, to me, like I mentioned before, like when you do a Nirvana song, you got to make sure, even if you're doing it your own way, the elements of pain and angst are somewhere in that mixed. And with country in general, there's no angst. There's just humility. There can still be the pain. There's pain in everything everywhere. But humility is one of the things that makes country music, uh, which is why you hear a lot of, a lot of country songs are spoken or sung in the first person. Uh, like I said, there's not many positives I can say about this. I respect him for doing what he did, uh, although I may not like it. And you know what? Everyone's entitled to their own opinion on how they feel about this, and mine just happens to be more of a negative one.
You know what? I respect that. I respect that. But so that's out of the way now. So there's no more sitting here and waiting for that one to come because I've been waiting for this one. So we have 4 more left, correct?
That'd be it.
Yep, we have 4 more left, and let's see. Let's just see where it goes from here. I'm excited. I know you're not really digging it too much, but that's why it's called Melody or Maladies, because it could be good or it could not be, and that's what we have to wait and see. So our next song is also off his album, A Sailor's Guide to the Universe, I believe it's called. And this was supposed to be his like masterpiece album that everybody truly loved. So let's check it out. This song is called All Around You. So as I said at the end of our last video, this album is a tribute to his son that I think was like just born around the time he was recording it. And if you read the lyrics, you really understand that this is like an album that's like so full of like love and like hope for like his child. And it turns out that this album, you know how I said that was like universally like really liked. This album won a Grammy for being the best country album of the year, and it was also nominated for best album of the year. And I honestly have no idea what you're going to think about this song, but I love this fucking song. I thought this song was fantastic. I love the saxophone. I love the guitar. Love the drums. I loved his voice. I love the songwriting. I love the production. I loved the lyrics. I really, really like this song. And this is like a feel-good song about from a father to his son saying like, long after I'm gone, I'll still be around because our bond is eternal. I absolutely love this song. I thought it was amazing. I'm generally curious to what you're going to say in a second here because I have no idea, but I loved it. I really like this song.
This song is a 5.
Oh shit, I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, and you know what? Everything about the song, even his voice, I liked in this song. What really, really spoke to me was the overall message of this song is what really sealed it in for me. Everything you had just said about it, it's a touching song. It's a beautiful song. Everything around it. If I were to like 0 of his other songs, this would be the only one by him I would listen to.
So you really like this song?
This was a good song.
What did you like about it? Did you like the saxophone? Did you
I loved every part of it. This song was a masterpiece of a song. Out of all the other songs, including that other one, like none of them are any in one way bit comparable to this song.
I'm gonna 100% agree. This is by far the best song yet. I would go with I would also go with I would give this song probably a 4.5, maybe a 5. I don't know. I'm kind of drifting in between trying to give it, but I loved this song. This was a great song. And I'm really excited for the next one, Sea Stories, because once again, it's off the same album. It is supposed to keep the same theme. And this song, I was looking through while I was listening to it, I was looking through the personnel on the Wikipedia page, like what instruments they were playing. There's cellos, violins, an alto. There's
Sax.
three different, a tenor and like a whatever
bass.
other saxophone. There's three different saxophones. There's a Wurlitzer. There's a bunch of different things in this, and I really do think that that's where he separates from other country people. Not just that he's more of an old schoolish country as compared to the new age country. He also has a lot more things going on that you would not expect. Because, you know, you think of country, you'd think of a guitar or a banjo, drums, and a singer, right? And acoustic guitar, probably not electric. He has acoustic and electric. He has violins, he has cellos, he has saxophones, he has a Wurlitzer piano, he has a regular piano and a keyboard. He has a bunch of just different crazy things. He played a 12-string guitar for this album, apparently. He really created like a different craft when it comes to country music. I think, especially in this album, it seems like. And I think it's great, and I'm very excited for the next one.
Perfect. What's the next one? Sea Stories?
Next song is called Sea Stories. Let's check it out. So Sea Stories is obviously about the time he spent enlisted in the Navy. He goes through all of the stuff when he was stationed in, Asia in the Navy. It's obviously, because you can see from the line where he goes, I've got sea stories, they're all true, might seem a little bit far-fetched, but why would I lie to you? He's still talking to his son, even though he's really, the song isn't about his son, but it's a song to his son about, like, what he did when he was in the Navy. And I really like
stories that he might not necessarily be able to tell his son when he's older.
Yeah, exactly. And it talks about like getting high and playing GoldenEye on the Nintendo 64, which I love that part because that's a fucking great game on a great system. I love that part. It's just cool to see that in like a song. And I really, really like the end where he talks about how he completely fucked up and got kicked out of the Navy and his life was just shit. But then I really like the end lyrics where he goes, flying high beats dying for lies in a politician's war. As you know, I'm a very anti-war guy. So that line I really fucking love that line. Once again, I don't know what it was necessarily, but I absolutely love this song and I see why people like this album so much. I thought this was a great fucking song. His lyrics are so good in this song, same with his last. I really fucking like this song. What'd you think, Franz?
I don't know if I can say I like the song. I certainly don't dislike it. This is, again, like when it comes to country, in most instances, in Sturgill Simpson's case, I like his faster paced stuff. And this was a faster paced one, so I can't say I overly like it that I'm going to add it to my playlist or whatever. But I respect it enough that it's faster, it panders more to me. Like, because country just makes me want to fucking fall asleep. And I don't really want to do that when I'm listening to music. That's just not me. If I want to listen to music, if I go out my way to listen to music, I want to make sure that's upbeat and I can fucking jive along with it, not something that just makes me want to slump out of my chair.
Mm-hmm.
That and this regard, I'd probably give this song a 3.5.
Well, I completely understand. Did you like the end where it got really fast paced and got a little bit heavier?
A little bit. I think the best line in that was the GoldenEye on the 64. Because like I've heard a lot of different types of music. I've heard fucking a lot. And out of any amount of country I heard, GoldenEye is the last fucking place you expect to hear about it as fucking country. So that, in a sense, is very interesting. And it seems almost more personal because it's connecting to people's childhoods in such a way. Because, whether you play the song or not, whether you watch the movies or not, everybody knows what you're talking about in that sense. And
it adds to like a nostalgia factor, like looking back on life sort of deal. Because I mean, even if you weren't necessarily a kid when you played GoldenEye, GoldenEye came out like 20 years ago. So it still adds in that nostalgia factor of like, hey, remember playing GoldenEye, like sort of deal. And that it's cool that
yeah,
like
well,
because
this
this
is what I
song,
was doing during that time.
yeah, exactly. And what's cool is that like because obviously this is a song to his son that he's telling his son who was born obviously within the last couple of years, like we were playing video games and this was the game that everybody was playing. So is where his kid's gonna grow up, liking whatever games are popular later on, fucking Fortnite or whatever. It just adds into that whole what like his whole thing is about. So
Mhm.
there's a reason why I asked you if you liked when it got really fast paced towards the end. Because I'm about to tell you something that you're not going to expect. His next album, which are our final two songs, was made into a Netflix anime movie. The only sounds in the whole movie were his songs. And if you are expecting a country record, you are sadly mistaken. That's what I expected. His last album, which came out last year, I believe at some time, is an industrial rock metal album.
Okay, this better fucking wow me. Because you're
It's
starting to get me a little excited in the pants area. There's a
I
part of the pants, and you're invited.
the day this album came out, I listened to the whole thing, and I kind of tuned out a little bit because if you sit down and listen to a full album, eventually you're gonna kind of like phase out a little bit. So I picked two songs that I don't truly remember, but the first four songs that I do remember are heavy and they're fun and there's a lot of electric guitar and it's like an industrial rock metal album. So I don't know exactly what these songs genre is going to be, but it's definitely not going to be fucking country. I can promise you that.
And you know what? I said going into this that I respect him as a musician, and even though I may not like his stuff, these last two songs might be a fucking savior for him for this podcast for me.
Okay, well, let's check it out. So our next song is Make Art Not Friends off Sound and Fury. Okay, so we've been talking for the last like 3 minutes, thinking that the recording was back on. Turns out it was not.
To be
So
fair, we've done what 12 videos. This is the 12th video, not including the retrospective. This is the first fucking time we've done that. It wasn't even my fucking fault this time. That was just your stupidity. You're the
you know
one
what?
running the fucking show. That one's on you, you fucking idiot.
You know what? You're right. But so let's give the abridged version. We both were. You were not expecting this. You thought it was such a completely different thing, and you said you really liked it. You gave it a 4.5.
I
I
did.
completely agree with you. I said that when I first heard this album, I kept checking my phone thinking I was listening to a completely different dude, but no, it was Sturgill Simpson. And I
Exactly.
fucking loved it.
That was my first thought. Like I said, if you were to show me the song and not tell me it was Sturgill Simpson, and then tell me after I was done listening, I would have told you go fuck yourself because it's just so different from anything Sturgill's produced
Mhm.
prior to this.
And by the way, I will say one thing. That the movie that they made to this soundtrack on Netflix, the anime, is fucking awesome. It's so bloody and violent, dude. It's fucking great. There's tits everywhere. It's an awesome anime movie.
You send me the name of that movie after because I might
It's
watch it.
called Sound and Fury, the name of the album, and it's fucking cool. Definitely check it out. But anyway, so we both really like this song. That's the abridged version because we just talked about it for like 5 minutes, and it turned out I wasn't recording. So we're just gonna move on to Last Man Standing, which is pretty quick. It's only a 2 minute and 10 second song, which isn't ideal for the final song of our thing. But you know what? That's just the way it landed. So let's check out Last Man Standing. So Beans, what'd you think of it?
Still better than the first, than his regular stuff, in my opinion. Um, this one wasn't one I really had too much to say about. Sounded good. Didn't sound like Sturgill. Probably give it a 3.5.
I really, really, truly love the lyrics in this song because this was more of a metal song. Like in the way I was saying that like this album was like more industrial rock metal. It's more industrial rock, I would say. But this song definitely had the vocals turned down, right? It was
Mhm.
instrument heavy, which is more, attuned to like a metal song. And the lyrics were pretty fucking heavy. So I'm going to read a little portion of the lyrics. Um, it's fuck y'all season. Don't give me a reason to watch your house burn to the ground. Light my new joint off the flames. I never learned how to play, so I broke the game. Now I'm dripping with oil, with the ink and the sword, walking around crossing off names. Like, this song really fucking was like him, which it definitely fits in with the anime if you watch it. It's very like violent and like aggressive and him just like going after people, and I fucking loved it. And the fact that like we listened to that last song, it was a complete departure from what he normally does, and we enjoyed it. And the fact that like it wasn't just like a one-off, like you can make how like fucking a band can go from being one genre and then they try something else, and it's okay for like the first song, but then they keep trying it and then it just doesn't work. Like this whole genre by him, this whole genre shift works like wholeheartedly. It completely works, and I really truly enjoy it, and I think he does really good. I love his country stuff, absolutely love it, but his rock and his metal and his crazy experimental stuff also completely works for him. I truly enjoy it. His voice, somehow his voice doesn't change that much really, but it fits in both scenarios to me. I know you disagree because you're not a huge fan of his voice, but for me, it really truly works in both scenarios. And for me, that's very impressive. I really like that. And it just makes me think even higher of him. I love the song. I think it was great.
Word.
You just agree with what I said, basically?
Yes.
All
Much like
right.
this last song, I didn't have a whole lot to say about what you thought.
Okay, well, you know what? I'll give you that. So we are. That was our final song. What's your rating of Sturgill
So
Simpson? Take
this is
everything into account.
this is hard for me. Taking everything into account, I'm going to give him a 3.5. And my initial is a 4. And if I'm being 100% honest, a lot of this, aside from the last 3 songs, I believe, right?
No, it
Uh,
was the seventh song, the ninth, and the 10th.
okay, so those 3 songs, you get what I'm saying? Those 3 were the best for me. Um, I thought they sounded the best out of the entire thing. Uh, I respect the hell out of him in his versatility of being a musician and the way he gets to just use his creative outlets. Respect the hell out of him for it. I would have given him a 3, in the sense of neutrality, in that I didn't care for his slower outlaw stuff that he was known for, but I really liked, those 3 songs, which weren't, uh, were not even necessarily under, his normal genre. So originally I was going to give a 3 for neutral's sake, but just because of how versatile as a musician is and how much I respect that, it's bumped up to 3.5. So it is an official Melody for me.
I'm glad you said that. I expect you to give him a 2.5. I did not expect. I was hoping that you were going to like him going into this, but with the way you were reacting to the first, few songs, I was expecting you to really full on not like it. And it makes me very happy to say that you changed your tune.
Hello?
Dude, Franz, I'm talking. Can you hear me? Can you hear
Yeah,
me or
you were
no?
breaking up.
Okay.
Yes, but you were breaking up.
All right. But anyway, so like I was saying, I'm happy that you ended up coming around a little bit and changing your tune on him due to the versatility and the talent that he really has. So you're less a fan of him and more a fan of his potential. Am I correct when I say that?
I feel like that's an accurate statement, yeah.
So because you don't like the country genre so much as you like certain country music. So you like Johnny Cash, you like Dolly Parton, you like Willie Nelson. I would say that you don't like outlaw country or original country as much as you like certain musicians who happen to fit that bill. Okay.
Yeah.
So I
There,
think,
like I said, it's very much a select few.
yeah,
We got to throw Wheeler Walker in there, of course. But
well, you know me, I'm a huge fan of Wheeler Walker Jr. He's the guy who actually got me interested into Sturgill Simpson because they both came out of Kentucky and they both, they performed together. Sturgill Simpson, Wheeler Walker Jr., and one Brad Childress or whatever his name was.
Childers.
Yeah, or Tyler, yeah, that guy. They all performed "Sit on My Face" together at this huge festival, and it was really fucking good. I absolutely loved it. And Sturgill Simpson on guitar went off, and so that's what kind of got me into it because I didn't like country before I listened to Wheeler Walker Jr. And I originally started listening to Wheeler because I thought he was hilarious. But then eventually, after listening to him a lot, I could actually understand that not only is he hilarious and sings these funny songs, but he also is a good musician too. Like,
Absolutely. That's what
he
I
has
love
a
most about Wheeler Walker.
great voice and
that,
he's a good guitarist.
Family Tree is the epitome of the most classic country song if you're talking about music only, and I enjoy it. It's just got that country vibe to it, the kind that won't make you fall asleep, which I said, earlier in this podcast that like that's a big thing for me. I don't want to be fucking falling asleep when I'm trying to listen to music. But yeah, so I understand Wheeler Walker, insanely good musician, insanely talented man, hilarious to boot. And like for those who don't know, and I know we're supposed to be doing a Sturgill video, but I feel like I can't not say this, is that the reason Wheeler Walker Jr. is all of his songs under, Wheeler Walker Jr.'s name are explicit, humorous songs. And this stemmed from the fact that, and I think it was you who told me that he had a song that I think contained the word bitch in it, which is not censored in today's radio at all. But whatever station that, was playing his song that had the word bitch in it, they bleeped the word bitch. And that
It was
rightfully pissed him off.
it was "Fuck You, Bitch." That was the song.
No, it wasn't "fuck you, bitch." No,
No,
I'm talking about the song that inspired him to start writing,
no,
the songs about the swears and stuff.
it was "Fuck You, Bitch" because
Fuck you, bitch?
the way he explained it was like he made a song called "Fuck You, Bitch," which obviously is like he was saying because obviously he's a comedian who pretends to be Wheeler Walker Jr. His real name is Ben Hoffman. He's not really Wheeler Walker Jr. And but he did say in this I do believe him in a certain respect. He was like he made "Fuck You, Bitch" because when you break up with a girl, you're not always thinking, like, "Oh, I love you, baby, so much," like how a lot of country songs are. He's thinking, "Oh, fuck you, bitch." And so he wrote a song saying "Fuck You, Bitch," and they told him like this could be a genuine radio hit, like #1 on the charts, but you have to change it to like something else, right? Instead of
Yeah,
"Fuck
because
You,
otherwise we'll
Bitch."
have to censor it. And he was basically like, "I'll give you something to fucking censor."
Yeah, exactly. So he ended up coming down this road where he's like, I'm going to sing the most dirty, crass fucking country songs ever, but it's going to be more real than the actual shit that you hear on the country radio stations. And he's 100% right because the songs he sings, as goofy as they are, like "I sucked another dick last night" and "Family Tree" and "Eating pussy
Family
kicking
Tree.
ass,"
Oh,
like those songs, as goofy as they are, they do have more like heart and authenticity to them than any Florida Georgia Line song. They really truly do. And he tapped into that for me by listening to him. Like I said, I really enjoyed the comedy aspect of it, but then I eventually came around to the musical aspect of it, especially with the song "All the Pussy You Will Slay Someday," which not only is possibly the funniest song I've ever heard, but it's also one of my favorite actual like songs. When I play that in the car, I don't play it to laugh at it. I play it because I genuinely fucking love that song. And that influence really turned me on to Sturgill Simpson. And I think I really love Sturgill Simpson. I understand that he's not your cup of tea. I get that. And I'm happy that you appreciate him.
My cup of tea is gin.
You know what? That's a perfect analogy. But
You know what? I want to write that down. I like that.
we'll save it. Don't you worry. We'll save it. But
Well, did you give your official rating in? Because I got to go and take the most massive shit, kind
I
of
have
like
not.
you once. But yes, your rating.
Okay. Yeah, I'll skip by everything I was just saying. My rating for Sturgill Simpson is going to be a 4.5. That's combining the songs I've already heard. Throughout all of these deep cuts, I would have given a 4. But with all of the stuff I've heard from him before, so you know how I was saying earlier, I would give him a 4 because I really liked his old stuff, but I wouldn't give it a 4.5 because they weren't the most amazing songs I've heard. I'm gonna give him a 4.5 because I really did enjoy all of these songs. I liked all of these songs, and combining that with the songs I've heard before that are some of my favorites, right? I will give him a 4.5 out of 5. Okay, so before we go, we do have to say what our melody number 13, which I hope we get it out before we both go on our vacations, but I'm not completely positive when that's going to happen. But
did I write them down?
You did write them down. I have it right in front of me, so I can say it if you.
I don't have any memory, so please.
Okay, so melody number 13 is Outcast.
Oh boy.
Can you explain who Outcast is real quick? We'll finish this up so you can take your shit. Who's Outcast?
I'm sorry. If you don't know how Outcast is, you're probably 7 years old and shouldn't be listening to us anyway. Outcast is a hip hop duo band that formed in the 90s, gained a lot of popularity, early 2000s. Everyone knows their song Hey Ya. And Miss Jackson and Roses are two of their other more popular songs as well. And that really is pretty much the extent of what I know by Outkast. Like, I'm sure I've heard it growing up, but never realized it was Outkast. But those are the 3 songs I know. So all 10 songs for the first time in the entire Malady series of my picking a band, I'm not going to know a single word to any of these songs.
That excites me greatly. I think that's awesome. Okay? So, as you know, before we leave, I do have to get one quick thing out. I hate rap and hip hop. I fucking hate them. I like Alicia Keys, but to me, she's a completely different thing than hip hop. I hate that genre. But in the spirit of Malady, and with the way you felt about Sturgill Simpson today for at least a majority of the video, I am going to go in with the most optimistic, hoping that I'm going to like them. I'm going to give them my best shot. I'm going to try my hardest to like them. And if I don't, I don't. And if I do, holy shit, I do. But we're going to have to wait and see and just, see where the wind takes us. So I will tell you one thing, though. Of all the bands you've picked so far, this is possibly the band I'm most excited for because I don't like rap and hip hop. And the fact that I'm going into it knowing that I do not like this genre at all. It is, in fact, my most disliked genre of music. I'm so excited just to see where I end up with them. And I think it's going to be great. And I know that whether I love them or hate them, there's going to be some sort of value that I take out of our video. So I'm pumped. So let's check them out next time.
All right. Catch you inside, bud.
I'll see you later, Bean Machine.
Later.